Hey y'all, it's Jason Will, real estate broker with Blueprint Realty Company, and welcome back to another weekly infusion of productivity tips. When I was thinking about what we should be talking about today, it was fairly easy because what I'm hearing from a lot of agents and mortgage lenders, really everybody in the industry, is that it's so slow. Like it's painfully slow right now. And what I want to make sure you're not doing is slowing down with the market. We tend to have a tendency to do this. When things get slow, we get slow. That freedom, that freedom that really enticed us into this industry, that freedom and flexibility. We really abuse that more often than not. When the market slows down, we're like, what's the point? Nobody's buying, nobody's selling. Let's use it as some leisure time, or let's Netflix binge. But that's a huge mistake. That is what most of the agents are going to do. So if you want to be atypical, if you want to get a step ahead of the competition, especially these traditional agents that aren't using technology, that aren't using video, that aren't using YouTube, that aren't using content, that aren't generating leads from social media, this is a time where you can dive into the things that you don't typically have time to do when it's busy. When we're busy out showing property and working with sellers, getting our listings marketed, a lot of times we neglect things, especially like education and learning. So I'm just going to give you some brief tips today on what I think you should be doing, and you can, devise a little game plan from this. I'm going to try to include a broad range of things that you can be executing, implementing, educating yourself on, and just to give you an example of what I'm doing. So one of the things I want to recommend is like previewing properties. So I am focused on lake homes. And I tell you, I get this pretty consistently from buyers that I'm working with on the various lakes that I serve. They'll send me a listing and go, hey, do you know anything about this property? And I'll say, no, I haven't had a chance to get to that one. And I've had clients of mine respond back, go, God, I'm surprised you haven't seen this one. It's been on the market for a long time. I mean, this is important to people. It's part of our job description to know the inventory. So right after this call, I have got like 4 or 5 properties I'm going to be previewing on the lake. So the other thing that's great about that is that I'm going to be shooting a lot of video content, and the properties that I've selected to preview, some of those are showing up on the favorite lists of listings that people are viewing via my website. So I'm like, oh my gosh, they looked at this one 5 times. I'm going to go preview that one, be proactive. I'm going to shoot a video of it, and I'm going to send it to them and go, hey, thought you might find this property appealing. Okay, it's a pretty cool idea. All right, so I'm going to go through a quick list of bullet points and then cut you guys loose. So pay attention, take notes, and then if you've got any questions about anything that we're talking about, or any questions I'm not covering, or your brokerage is not covering, you can reach out to me anytime. It's important to have somebody you can go to that you're not going to bother. So many real estate agents just stay quiet. They don't want to annoy people with their questions. Annoy me with your questions. Call or text them to me, 251-583-9728. All right, my first bullet point, if you know anything about me, you're not going to be surprised by this one. It's learn. My core values, business plan. It's a synergy of the two: learn, earn, give, serve. But learn, dive into AI tools. I'm seeing so many trainings on YouTube, especially through the BAM network, on AI tools and how agents are using AI. Got an agent in my marketplace that I'm friends with that does this. Jason Patton is using AI as an assistant. He's using AI to follow up on leads. And I'm seeing agents using AI to generate leads. So dive into some YouTube videos on AI specifically for real estate agents. How can we use AI as a marketing tool? How can we use AI in real estate in general to grow our business, to scale our business? That would probably be a good search term to type into the YouTube search bar. So use AI. Jason Patton has a quote that he uses when he trains agents on this that I absolutely love. It's AI is not going to make the real estate agent obsolete, but AI is going to make the agents that don't master AI obsolete. Okay. All right. So I still kind of messed that up. All right. Second bullet point is to systematize. So this is a great time to audit your CRM. For instance, my CRM tells me who the most recent visitors are. Those are people who are actively looking. I can touch base with them, send them a text, leave them a voicemail, give them a call. I can, send a market report to sellers, CMAs to my best and most loyal past clients. So get that rolling. Also, it's a great time to get that content pipeline rolling again. Community tours would be a great one. Anything lifestyle related right now is really, really garnering the most engagements. And then, fortune's in the follow up. So just follow up like crazy with the folks that, like we talked about in the prior episode, like your top 25, your top 50. Love on those people that you have not had time to love on, like over the summer as it's been busy. Okay. The next one is market knowledge. So you probably heard me say this a million times that the two most important things to consumers, two most important professional traits that people look for in a real estate agent they seek to hire is number one, market knowledge, and number two, their marketing ability, their marketing skills. So as I mentioned, I'm going out to preview properties all day today. So keep showing up in that regard, but let's make some market report videos. Let's send out some market reports. One of the things we should be doing at the end of the month and the first week of the next month is creating market reports. I've got a seller on FISBO seller on Lake Martin. I've been working for a while now. And gosh, I've got her like so close, but I haven't had time to send her a month end market report. She's convinced that no homes are selling on Lake Martin. Well, in August, there was over 20 homes that sold. She was surprised by that. So I'm going to send her the ones for September. She's going to be surprised by that. And it may just keep just inching her forward, especially with these second homes, you agents that are selling condos, it's very, very seasonal. But these sellers just think, oh, there's no point in putting my condo on the market or my lake house on the market during the off season. But you can show them, hey, stuff is still selling and there's less competition during this time of year. So it's actually a pretty decent time to put a home on the market if it's priced right and in good condition. All right. The next bullet point is prospect. So call, text, work your sphere of influence, nurture those relationships, warm them back up if need be. Now's the time to really be investing in your sphere of influence, not necessarily for fourth quarter, but to start first quarter fast. It's all about, staying in touch, right? And this is a great time to make these calls, shoot these texts, send these emails. Some of you are sending video texts and video emails, which I love, but we struggle a lot of the times with like reasons why we're checking in. So we don't want to sound salesy. We don't want to come off or come across as inauthentic. So this is a great time of year. It's like, what do you guys got planned for fall break? What do you guys got planned for Thanksgiving? You going anywhere special? Got anything special planned? Looking for ideas for Halloween costumes. I don't know. There's just a ton of talking points that you can use that are related to the fall seasons. Where's you going to? I went to this pumpkin patch and man, the kids loved it. Just putting things out like that is really beneficial, and recommendations, lifestyle recommendations is really, really strong. Past clients, same thing here. Your past clients and your sphere of influence, that should be a very blended group of folks. At the closing table, that's when the relationship should really start. But it's all about top of mind awareness, no matter if we're talking about people we know or people we want to get to know and want to get their attention. It's all about staying top of mind, which is why content is so important, which is why, checking in with your phone via call, text is so important. So just kind of keep that mind, that top of mind awareness is very susceptible to times when we're just too busy. Next bullet point, community. I think do you have an opportunity? This is going to freak some people out, but do you have an opportunity to speak at your chamber of commerce? Do you have an opportunity, to address, members of your community leaders on the real estate market? So send out some offers to people in leadership positions of influence, and go, hey, it's slow in real estate. Do you guys have any employees, or do you feel like our community needs an update on real estate? It could be a great way for you to get featured in a news article or on evening news, whatever the case may be. Are there any events right now you could sponsor so you could just show up locally? I think this is probably going to be more attractive to most of you, because I realize, like, public speaking, most of us would rather be set on fire than do that. But there's going to be a lot of holiday markets, pop-up markets that are going to be happening, and you can sponsor those, get a booth, get some giveaways. People love all, like, the keychains and the pins and the notepads and the cups and the koozies. They're going to stop by to get all that, and then you engage with them in a conversation, offer them, a free market analysis, get them signed up on a newsletter. So many things that you could do there. Diana does this a lot, very successfully, with her earrings. She will sponsor these, get a booth, but also sell some earrings. So she's providing them with something they're going to, like, connect with her. Every time they put the earrings on, they're going to think of her, but she can talk about earrings, she can talk about mortgage, and it's just kind of a win-win. And a lot of times, the money she makes off the earrings pays for the investment of the booth. All right, so just be the real estate voice in your area. I think you're going to be surprised if you reach out to your local news outlets and say, hey, are y'all needing some professional analysis of the real estate market? What's happening with inventory? What's happening with interest rates? From a local boots on the ground perspective, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. And man, does that make you look freaking awesome in the eyes of the consumer. But talk about top of mind awareness on steroids. All right, last bullet point. This is a important one, but man, is it neglected. And that's just our mindset. Just kind of led with this right off the top, but just don't let the season shrink your ambition. This is your opportunity to really thrive through the slowdown by filling your calendar, by filling your hours of the day with not only dollar productive activities, but activities that have a long-term, more evergreen effect, like content creation. Okay. So that stuff, when you put it out there on YouTube, it just stays out there. It stays working for you. It's like a free team member that's just out there promoting you all the time. So reels, stories, maybe you've been neglecting a social media platform. You've gotten really consistent with Instagram and Facebook, but you are slacking, on TikTok. Maybe it's time to add one, but I wouldn't add anything until you prove to yourself that you can be consistent with one. It would probably, some of you wouldn't be surprised, but it'd probably blow most of your minds to know how many TikTok channels I maintain, how many Instagram accounts I have, how many Facebook pages that I'm feeding on a daily basis. It blows my mind sometimes, but the leads are coming in and things are happening. So, and then just a bonus, I would say, get your butt in an open house. Get your butt in an open house. The past 3 weeks, I've had very good turnout with open houses, like probably averaging 5 groups through, but weekend before last had 7. The people are still coming to open houses, and it's a great way, if you really kind of suck at marketing, just use the open house as the catalyst for a whole week's worth of marketing, right? So if you're not doing an open house this weekend, or even if you are, but you probably haven't been marketing it since Monday, this coming Monday, start, pick a great open house, great location, highly visible listing, price right, in good condition, and start marketing that thing on Monday. There's so much we can highlight about houses, from floor plans to amenities to, the outdoor living situation, the lifestyle of the community, the lifestyle within a 1-mile radius of the community. Could keep us super, super busy throughout the week, previewing the competition in that 1-mile radius is really important. Creating market reports to show people that this home is priced right. Just really, really good ideas. All right. So in closing, let's run circles around the competition while they nap. So while they slow down, you speed up. All right. Again, if you got any questions about your real estate business, if there's something like you have like a really pressing need in terms of training, in terms of getting a question answered, and you don't know who to turn to, just turn to me and we'll get it figured out together. 251-583-9728. Call or text. All right, guys, I will see you next week.